Hey, pipe community, Callum Doyle on the pipe patio once again. Beautiful Sunday afternoon here. Kind of breezy, cool. We're going to have I think 79 the high today. The humidity has been uncharacteristically low here. We're just coming and going to do a second video on my top 3 tobaccos. And as you can see, here's my number 2 in the jar, and there's the number 2 flake tobacco laid out here. Kind of zoom in, see if I can get a close shot of it. It's actually a little darker than it's showing up on the video, but this is Stonehaven, and I'm smoking it today in my Ben Wade freehand. Really enjoy this pipe. I was telling you, I was sad. I scorched it not long after getting it, and it had been completely refurbished, but way it goes. But this is kind of a controversial blend. Since I've been in this community making videos, I think I was 2 years in June, and even before that as a lurker while I was watching before I started making videos. This has been a much talked about tobacco, and most of the talk about it was how rare it was and how hard it was to get, which is all true. And I at the time, a few years back, there was a lot of videos when people would find it and were able to secure some, but I really enjoy this tobacco. It's a Virginia Burley flake, and I'm not real heavy. I'm not a real burley tobacco user. I really don't find, especially the predominant burley blends, a lot of them I find them to be too nicotine heavy, and really I just don't particularly care for them. But this I really like, and as you can see, it's a real dark flake, and for me, when I open this flake, immediately I get the smell of a wine, a red wine, and it's even more than that. If you've ever made wine or been involved in making wine, what you do is, and I used to do this with my dad years ago, haven't done it in a long time, but what you do is you take your fruit, and we use muscadines a lot because they were a grape that grew here. It's a heavy, thick-skinned grape. Grows well in Louisiana because it's not susceptible to fungus or mildew, and our humidity is so high here. This is about the only thing you can grow with real good success. But anyway, you take and you kind of mash and chop up your grapes, and you add them to your mixture, and you add your water, and you take your specific gravity reading, and then you add sugar, and then of course you add your yeast. And about after the second or third day, the yeast will begin to really work, and it'll push all of the pulp and skins and everything. And this is just in a big vat up to the top, and the carbon dioxide will start bubbling through, and it has a particular smell to it, and it's called must is the name of it, and that is what this reminds me of. So I really enjoy that smell. I really enjoy that taste. Even after you make the wine, that taste still comes through some. So for me, that's what it is. I really get that taste. That's an enjoyable taste for me. And I guess the other thing it does, it kind of takes me back to a time when my dad was alive and we were doing this wine making together, and maybe that influences me some. Don't know, but it's a kind of interesting tobacco. Several sources indicate that it's cased with treacle, which is the British type of molasses. Now, there's two different types of treacle. There's a light colored syrup, and then there's the one that's molasses. And I don't know for sure because nobody's talking about it, but I would think that if they put any of it on here, it would be the real dark molasses. But there's been numerous people that said they've talked with the manufacturer, and they do say that they lace it, or they case it, excuse me, not lace it, but case it with treacle. So I wonder if putting the molasses on it and then putting this in a procedure to age it and press it, if it starts a fermentation process that's similar to wine. And why is that? Why the wine smell and the wine tin note is so prevalent, and then for me the taste is the same way. So I don't know that for a fact, just kind of guessing and seeing, or kind of guessing that that's maybe what takes place. But here's probably the controversial part of this. Everybody just raves about this tobacco, and I think more than anything else, it's a fad of something that gets popular, and people, everybody wants to get some. Back a few years ago, year and a half ago, I was able to secure a fair amount of this blend. It's not an everyday smoke for me. It's something I enjoy when I get a craving for it. When I bought mine, I was able to buy it at about $35 for 8 ounces, which is not bad. Which is about to go and some of it may have been 32. And I would pay that, all the time for this tobacco. I think it's that good. Now, what I wouldn't do is pay double that or triple that or whatever crazy price you might find on eBay. And I think that's just fed by a couple things. For whatever reason, it got popular. Sometimes brands just get popular and people talk about them, and they take off on their own. There might be limited production. I don't know that for a fact, but that could add to it as well. But to me, it's an extremely enjoyable blend. It's one I would highly recommend if you can get a hold of it. It's a blend that once you start smoking it, you do pick up the musky wine flavor to me. There's a little background of chocolate, of cocoa in it, but predominantly for me it's the wine, the must. And it's a tobacco that starts out a little mild, and it develops as you smoke it and as you go down through the bowl. For me, about a third of the way down, the flavor really develops and stays with me, through the rest of the smoke. So just like I said, it's my number 2. As you can see, I do like flakes. If you can find this, I would recommend it. I wouldn't recommend paying an exorbitant amount for it. But if you can find it for a reasonable price, I would definitely recommend it. So my number 2, Stonehaven. So till next time, guys, everybody get their favorite pipe, favorite blend, light her up, keep her lit, and keep her smoking.